This is Gotham TV Podcast, episode 92, where we're looking at Gotham Mad City Season 3, episode 13, Smile Like You Mean It.
I'm David Mazuz, and you're listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
This is Drew Powell, and you are listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
This is Robin Lloyd Taylor, and you are listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
So Waddy Cap, Gothamites, this is one of your hosts, John, and we are here with you shortly after Thailand, where we are talking about Smile Like You Mean It. Yes, that Killers track. I mean episode 13 of season 3 of Gotham. Yes, we are here and we're back.
Yes, a little bit later than usual. We were on holidays for the last couple of weeks over in Thailand. An awesome place. Sawadee Cap from your other host, Derek. We had a great time on holidays. Really, really good fun. Got a little bit of a colour. Possibly, if you're watching us over on YouTube, you might see the colour. But yeah, had a really good time, had a little bit of a break. So I'm sorry for this episode being a little bit late, but with 22 episodes back to back, the way they're airing on Irish TV, we don't get any breaks like the US had. So we do have to make a little bit of gaps here and there for us to have a little breaks ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Had a good time, all rested and refreshed, John?
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
In good and bad ways.
And what a way to come back for an awesome episode of Gotham.
Yeah, Jerome is back. The killing smile is back in Gotham.
Yes, he is. Yes, very cool. A little bit of discussion before we start, John. Just a little bit of news that happened while we were away over in Thailand. Sadly, Jade Logue, the daughter of Donald Logue, who plays Harvey Bullock on the show, a character very close to our hearts. Jade Logue, his daughter, has gone missing. She's been missing for almost 2 weeks now. She went missing on the 27th of June from the Barclays Center in New York. He's been putting out calls all over social media, and we thought we would mention it on the podcast. Really sad situation where she's been missing. There don't seem to be many leads as to where she is at the moment. I'm really hoping that by the time we put up this episode that she'll be found and returned to her family. But yeah, it does seem to have been gone in mysterious circumstances, unfortunately.
No, it's sad news, absolutely, for any family who has a missing child, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So our thoughts are with Donald Logue, definitely, at this moment, and we hope for the safe return of Jade at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very soon, of course.
Yeah. Definitely. Hopefully she'll be back safe and sound very soon. I think we'll crack into our show. We do have a little bit of feedback. We're going to kick off slightly differently this week because we got some feedback while we were away from Claire Payne on episode 12, Ghosts. Take it away, Claire.
The episode of Ghost, I think, to date is one of my favourites. I really like the mystery of the ghostly return of Elijah. The reveal at the end that Ed was behind the whole meltdown of Mayor Cobblepot. The audience and supporters of Oswald watching him being interviewed on live television went from being in awe of him to disgust when Oswald announced "to hell with the people." Clayface was used in a very clever, twisted way. It's really good that they are using this character not too frequently, but when used in an episode like Ghosts, it's perfect. I'm still a little shocked that Nigma actually dug up Elijah's remains to actually gain revenge on Oswald. The revenge between Jim, Leslie and Falcone was so good. The standout moment was when Zaz paid a visit to Jim to tell him that he expects a kill order from Falcone soon. As Zaz leaves, he reminds Jim that he won't see him coming and reminds him that it's not personal, always professional. Also, another great line from Zaz to Jim about Mario. Nice shot on Mario. Never liked him anyway. Really looking forward to seeing how the return of Jerome happens in the next episode. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Claire, for that feedback. Absolutely agree with you. A really good episode is Ghosts. Really intriguing. Nice to see that supernatural element come back in to Gotham, which, like we saw in The Spirit of the Goat. Completely agree with you on Clayface. A really good use of this character.
Definitely.
And Yeah, I kind of agree with you. It's pretty shocking how Ed was digging up Oswald's dad's cadaver, really, to use in this way. So, Ed certainly is plumbing new depths that up until then only Oswald's dad had reached. By that, I mean 6 feet. Zaz, another great character. He's certainly loved on this podcast. And his interplay with Jim. And, of course, the consummate professional, as you say. It's nothing personal, Jim. It's business.
Absolutely.
And, of course, I suppose to kick off into this episode of Gotham, we too are excited by the return of Jerome as well, Claire. He's a great character. He's an absolute fan favourite for Gotham advocates and fans. So, it will be an interesting episode to see his return. And does he still pack the same punch with the big grin?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your feedback, Claire. If you want to send in feedback to us, other listeners, everybody else, all the other Gothamites, you can obviously send a voicemail to us through our website, like Claire does, over at gothamtvpodcast.com. You can call it through your phone, really easy to do. Or if you don't want to do that, you can record an MP3 and you can email it to us at feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com. Or you can email us any type of feedback at all over there at gothamtvpodcast.com. Or come and join us over on our Facebook group over at facebook.com/groups/gothamtvpodcast.
Absolutely. I think with that, on with the show. Derek, what are the case notes for this episode?
Yeah, this episode was directed by Olatunde Osunsanmi. Hope I got that name right. First-time director for Gotham, but he's Nigerian-born. He's done a couple of films, but has directed lots of television, including some episodes of Under the Dome, The Last Ship, Sleepy Hollow, Minority Report, and Blind Spot. So loads of other good TV credits that he's worked on before. And this episode was written by Stephen Lillen and Brian Winbrandt. They've written a couple of episodes this season now. They did Follow the White Rabbit, and they're going to be back for episode 17 of the season as well. So this is their first time working with the character of Jerome, though. A really good treatment of Jerome, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, his face certainly got around the screen somewhat.
Yes, it did. John, do you want to tell us what they gave us with your synopsis for this episode?
Sure. When the reanimation of Jerome fails, Dwight, impatient for change, cuts off Jerome's face and wears it as a mask to lead the Jerome cult to take over the Gotham news station and begin their awakening of chaos and destruction across Gotham. Meanwhile, Nigma, Barbara, and Tabitha continue their manipulation of Oswald Cobblepot, just as Bruce, Selina, and Alfred also realise that they have been manipulated and deceived by Selina's mum, Maria, which leads to a distraught Selina confronting both her mother and Bruce Wayne as she learns that Bruce had suspected this but didn't tell her to protect Selina from the painful truth that her mum was a con artist. However, Jerome, now at the GCPD after his body was found, awakens belatedly at the precinct and plans his next move in front of his audience of one, Leslie Tompkins. Poor Leslie. As the police manage to stop the cult and arrest Dwight, Jerome comes looking for his face and abducts Dwight. After reattaching his face with a staple gun, Jerome ignites explosives that kill Dwight and knock out Gotham's power, causing a citywide blackout.
Where's the stapler, John? Where's the stapler? What a great scene. It's just some great stuff in this episode. I know Claire said earlier on that Ghosts was one of her favourite episodes so far this season. Not to spoil my thoughts, but this is probably one of my favourites of the season so far, without a doubt. Yeah,
really, really quality. Just to see Jerome back on screen, like he is. Such a powerful character, played so well. So yeah, amazing. Loved all the different connotations of his face, basically, from going from normal Jerome to the one with the quirky grin, and now to face off Jerome, John Woo style. right the way through to reattach Jerome's face with the staple gun.
Well, I think this is another reference to the Snyder run of comic books where Joker takes off his face and reattaches it. I think this was Death of the Family or Death in the Family. I can never remember which one was the Snyder run and which one was the 80s run. It's either Death of or Death in the Family. And another great Snyder arc.
Absolutely.
And an iconic version of the Joker now with the face reattached or taken off and then reattached again. So a nice little reference there. John, should we crack it to our top 5?
I think so. With our first, the break-in to retrieve Jerome's body.
Yeah, I just love the setup of this. I loved the card game that the guys are playing where one of the security guards goes, Jokers are wild, this must be my night. Wasn't his night, unfortunately.
No, it wasn't.
He lost his life pretty quickly playing cards. The guy he was playing cards with is the guy that shoots him as well. So not very many people to trust in Gotham, which is one of the nice things that we see throughout this episode. There's lots of little calls to the fact that there's anybody around you could be a member of this cult of Jerome.
Absolutely. It's frightening stuff, really. I mean, stabbed in the back by your colleague, who would have thought it was actually literal rather than metaphorical? But yeah.
I felt like that sometimes in work.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I suppose, yeah, it was really good to see just the whole setup of that and them going in to collect and seeing again Jerome in his icebox, ready to be reanimated. And obviously we see the GCPD return to here after a tip-off to see that iconic writing that will be one of our other points, no doubt, with the ha-ha-ha-ha-ha. Yeah, and one of the guys that didn't make it, taken into custody and given a fair old beatdown, both sodium pentothal, the truth serum, a right hook, a left hook, another right hook. I do love Harvey Bullock's sort of first punch, where I think Jim has already trying to get information through a fairly unprocedural-like interrogation, smacks the guy in the face, and then basically Harvey kind of says, "I don't mind if I do," as he sort of takes up from Jim punching the lights out of this guy.
Yeah, it's very much bad cop, isn't it?
Very much bad cop, bad medical examiner, and all with a twisted, sordid relationship between them all that they all have to keep this secret.
Yes, of course.
So, yeah, I mean, who are the bad guys? Who are the good guys? That's one of the really interesting... I mean, this is done to the extreme.
Of course.
But, it is one of those interesting things in Gotham that people who are supposed to be the good guys are pretty murky themselves, and increasingly we're seeing Leslie become certainly a bit murkier with all of this, but I do love all of her ripostes and retorts to Jim. She really doesn't want to get touched by him ever again.
Absolutely. Well, there is one central question that Gotham has always been set up to answer. Just one question, which is simply, why is the city in need of a Batman? And that is the question that's always being posed, and the question that's always being ruminated on with the creation of all of the villains, that kind of stuff. But it's also why our heroes fall so often, why they aren't beyond reproach, why they are able to be bad and be good, be grey areas, because they aren't like the Batman. They aren't able to stand up against the onslaught of the villains that are coming into the city. That's the reason there's a Batman needed. So that's another answer, another little bit that's going on in the show, I think.
Absolutely. But newsflash, case point number 2, we are Jerome.
We are Jerome.
We are Jerome. Yes. The symbols, the ha-ha-has, and all those other big lip symbols, big eye symbols, all around Gotham are tribute to Jerome and this cult that is increasingly permeating its way through the city of Gotham.
Yeah, I remember one of our listeners pointing out pretty early on, Daniel Butcher pointing out early on that he was seeing the ha 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 Joker symbol around the city of Gotham and some of the establishing shots that were going on. Loads of the establishing shots are done by the effects company. I think it's CosFX that do all of the effects for Gotham. So they add CGI to the city of New York to make it distinguishable as Gotham, as a different city, something different from just shots of New York. So they have been adding in these images for quite a while. It would not surprise me if the showrunners, Danny Cannon, for example, was saying, add in a shot there where we have that in the background every couple of episodes. It's also that they did use the same establishing shot quite a few times with that quite iconic symbol in there. They used it over and over again throughout a couple of seasons. So I like that they tied up something that people have noticed throughout the seasons, and also probably added it in a few times to kind of seed this throughout the last season or so.
Yeah, absolutely. But we do see the Gotham News Channel here in this episode.
Oh, yes.
Unfortunately for the lead presenter, which was absolutely hilarious, his announcement on Channel 9, they assure me everything's going to be alright, as then his blood issues forth from aorta and veins all across Channel 9's backdrop. Yes, to say it was bad timing is an understatement.
It was brilliantly done. Perfect timing.
Perfect
Surely
comedy
everything's
timing.
going to be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even then, later on, when Jerome hijacks the airways, I think their rationale, we're going to release and show this footage in a hope that we will be able to get our equipment back. Okay, then.
Channel 9 aren't very smart.
No, Channel 9 really are clickbait, I think
so.
in the Gotham world. Definitely.
Yeah. One of the things I did really like about this scene is that it is supposed to mirror the last time we saw Jerome in the GCPD broadcasting around the city. That's what got him all the followers. Dwight seems to think that potentially by wearing the mask of Jerome and doing something very similar to Jerome, that he'll also get the followers. He'll rile up the followers of Jerome. But it gets called out by Jim, which I love, in a great moment when he's on the phone to him and Dwight's freaking out almost that he's in exactly the same situation that Jerome was in before. He's got Jim on the phone. He's able to say all the stuff to him. And Jim goes, no, you're just repeating the lines that Jerome said. You're doing the one thing that Jerome never did, which is bore me, and then hangs up on him.
Yeah, burn.
Really irritating Dwight as well.
Yeah, mic drop from Jim.
Nice, well done, Jim.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think moving on to point 3, Jerome returns, and we really see the extent of his cult throughout the GCPD.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, we've got a mole in the GCPD again. Captain Barnes now in Arkham Asylum, having cleared out all of the previous moles and fired all of the previous people working in the back pocket of Falcone and Maroni. Not there anymore, so it seems like some of the moles have creeped back in again. This time,
and they love a good laugh as well.
Yes, they do. This time, a guy that's effectively saying, I gave up being a police officer the night that Jerome came in and killed the commissioner.
Yeah.
And followed Jerome after Sarah Essen got slaughtered effectively on the premises.
Yeah, crazy. I don't think he met the psych evaluation team when he put in his application
Possibly not.
for the GCPD, but sure. I think there's a lot of that about in Gotham.
I think so.
Yeah, but yeah, we have Jerome brought in on the slab into the medical examiner's room, and of course, you know, poor Leslie just goes from worse to worse. Really, she gets kidnapped and effectively held hostage in her own room, but she does play it deadpan, and it is really quite good.
Oh my God.
The Jerome going through like what's happened whilst he's been asleep, trying to decide what his next move is going to be. You know, shall I kill Galavan? Shall I was last trying to kill Bruce Wayne. What's happened to him? Trying to figure out how things have changed, where he's up to. I really love that, going through those motions with Leslie Tompkins in her lab. It was a really great scene. Yeah,
just a great fun little moments with Galavan, where Jerome is saying that he's going to go back and kill Galavan again, and he is told that Galavan came back to life as well, and he says he's always trying to upstage me. Yeah, nice little moments with Leslie. Love where he finds out about Leslie's relationship, where he says, "Are you and Jim still together?" And Leslie explains the entire last year of an arc with, "No, he shot my husband on my wedding night." And Jerome kind of turns away and goes, giggles a little bit, and then goes, "No, I understand why you wouldn't find this as funny, but that's hilarious."
Yeah.
Amazing moments. I love Cameron Monaghan in this part. I don't think the guys from Gotham knew what they had when they cast him. I think they went, right, this would be a great little character for a little side story. He could be the Joker in the future, and they closed down the storyline very quickly, then brought him back last season. But he really, every single time he's on screen, he really lights up the screen. He really throws himself into the part.
Definitely, and I think as well in this, I mean, obviously it's played for those extremes, but we see that kind of reflection of how Jim sees Dwight, as you were saying before. You know, the one thing that Jerome never did was bore me. You're doing that, and here again, Jerome effectively mirrors what Jim is saying as he watches Dwight on TV, trying to do his Jerome thing, thinking that he is going to bring all this about, and he just, is there saying no charisma, no panache. Handsome guy, though, obviously, although it does look very Mike Myers, it really does, with the face kind of just sort of strung onto Dwight's face.
Like Halloween, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like the Halloween. Really good little call there, I think, definitely.
Absolutely. I've seen a still image of this. I think I'll have it as the image for the episode of Dwight wearing Cameron Monaghan's face, effectively. And I'm still wondering whether it is Cameron Monaghan made up to look like he's Dwight underneath his own face, because it actually hangs really well. It's really impressive what the makeup team did here, or whether it is obviously
Dwight.
Yeah, Dwight himself. Sorry, Dwight.
Yeah.
Whether it is Dwight wearing a prosthetic of Jerome's face.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is likely as well. The two of them are the same kind of height, I think. But it's a really, really well done scene from the makeup artists on the show.
But Dwight really isn't with us for very long.
No.
His dreams of Gotham domination, leading the Jerome cult. Of course, he does think that Jerome is dead at this point. So, he is as shocked as anyone to be picked up by Jerome.
Well, yeah.
And Jerome asking for his face back. And then, I love the whole thing back in the kind of disused factory where all the kit is that was used by Dwight to reanimate him. And there's kind of a nervous thing. We're still friends, aren't we? As Jerome is there, still in his bandages, and then starting to staple back his own face, which was just like, that was pretty gruesome, actually.
It was, but brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, really good. And then obviously this new video post to the city of Gotham, which Channel 9 strangely airs.
Well, what a shocker.
What a shocker.
As you say, they're kind of a clickbait news station by the sides of things. But yeah, it looks like he's trying to stage... we've seen the movie The Purge.
Yeah, the horror movie.
Yeah,
the scary movie.
Effectively, where one night a year, everybody goes out and kills people that they want to kill, effectively. So, and then can they survive till morning is the idea. Can the main heroes of the city survive till morning? So you're wondering if they've taken a little bit of inspiration, maybe, from that for this plan of Jerome's, because effectively not only does he tell everybody in the city to go out and kill whoever they want to, and then they'll wake up as a brand new Gotham the following day, he also plunges the city of Gotham into darkness with his bomb at the power plant.
Absolutely, yeah.
So really interesting. I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, that would be interesting, because the look on Jim's face, of course, as the explosion goes off at the it's the electrical substation, and the city is plunged into darkness, is kind of like, oh fuck. What is going to happen? But certainly, there is another purge that's going on as well.
Well, I just wanted to say, we do have to say goodbye to Dwight in this episode.
So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.
Great to have him back on the show. Have him from the Batman universe working on the show was really cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
And the final words said to him by Jerome are, I don't forgive you for taking my face from Jerome as he sets off the bomb. But thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Dwight, and R.I.P. in the Gotham world, definitely. But yeah, there is another purge going on. One being orchestrated by Barbs, as she is still manipulating Oswald. And yes, really nice little scene in the Sirens Bar between him and her, where he actually nails it. Oswald, you had it. That she is trying to manipulate you, and then lost it again after speaking with Tommy. What was it? Tommy Howe? Tommy Bones. That's it. Tommy Bones. Tommy Howe is a prop forward, I think, for Ireland Rugby. So that's probably where my mind's going there.
We'll call it jet lag down.
But I do love Tabby in this, and her murdering glee, as well as spree. She just loves firing off those guns into the flesh of men.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're the other heads of the crime
Option
families.
B, ladies and gentlemen. Option B.
Yeah, the other heads of the crime families have also been murdered here by Tabitha. So really interesting. Obviously, the concept here is that Ed set up the entire plan because he knows Oswald better than anybody else. So he knows that Oswald wasn't going to accept that the manipulation of Barbara, I suppose. There's no way he trusts Barbara enough. He was suspicious of her to begin with, but still followed through and still understood the plan, and then thought, nah, she's playing me. There's no way that she's telling me the truth here, until he gets the phone call from Tommy Bones. But then Tommy, unfortunately, another member of the cast gone. James Andrew O'Connor, who's been a follower of ours on Twitter for a long time, and it's really nice to have been interacting with him over the last couple of years. But I want to say a fond farewell to Tommy Bones.
Another one.
Yeah, he's kind of popped up since season 1. He's been in and out of the series, but as Gotham moves further and further away from the mafia side and more to the villains and villainous side, a lot of those old mafia types in their suits seem to be taken out.
Yeah, but again, I think coming back to Babs and Tabs, the moment where they're sat drinking on the couch with the other crime families in the foreground, and it's just option A or option B. Option A being kind of manipulate the crime families so that they come on board and so on, or option B. And Tabitha really does go for option B, which is effectively wipe them out, all of them. Quote, Emperor Palpatine, Star Wars trilogy, 1 to 3.
Yes.
But it's just really great delivery of these lines, I think, which is just like really good. I love then afterwards when the phone goes and it's obviously Ed Nigma on the other end, and it's like, yeah, she went for option B. Just so that he knows. But the delivery from Babs, the expression of Tabby as she's doing this, it is really, really good. And I have to say, I know it's mass murder, but it did bring a smile to my face.
I think it's just the episode. I think this episode, after maybe the jet lag as well, I think possibly has warped us a little bit. We're probably smiling and laughing, maybe a little too much, but the show's meant for this. This is the perfect type of characters and the perfect type of show. I also like the fact that part of the manipulation here is that Oswald believes that Ed has been kidnapped by the members of this crime family, so he's doing everything to push all of his guys harder than he's ever pushed them to try and find Ed here. So we see Gabe back again, who was the one that killed Ed's girlfriend before. Maybe that's going to play out sometime later on in the season. But we see him being pushed and him starting to go against a little bit of what Oswald's saying. He says, "I've heard some strange things, boss," but is cut off by Oswald and told to go back out after the crime families. So maybe we'll see a little bit of a twist from some of the people that work for Oswald, potentially.
Yeah, definitely. But I think onto our final case note, the extortion of Bruce Wayne's dosh by Maria Kyle and her partner, Cole. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, so actually Maria's basically just a big con artist, which is what ultimately Selina will grow up to be. Although at this moment in time, she's hugely principled. But effectively, it is a foretelling of what Selina will herself practice in Gotham as she grows older and becomes the world-renowned cat burglar. She does it by deception and stealth and manipulation. So this is a really interesting part, and it's really great to see Selina just sort of confront the two of them here. I think the saddest part is then her confronting Bruce, really, that he knew, but he was doing it for the right reasons, to try and keep her mum in town so that they could build a relationship, Selina and Maria. And it is a shame that I think Bruce and Selina's early romantic flame has probably just been snuffed out.
Yeah, I think so. The two scenes from Cameron Bukendova here with her mother, with Maria, when she finds out that her mother's been lying to her and says she only cares about the fact that her mother came back to just to use her. It wasn't that it wasn't about the money or anything like that. I think it's heartbreaking. It's really, really well acted by Cameron Bukendova. She's been so good in this part, but I don't think she's really had these types of moments as much. She's had them with Bruce, but never with another character. So it's kind of good to see her being given these type of moments. But
definitely,
but heartbreaking, both of those scenes with Bruce and with her mother, where again you feel these layers of the trusting side of Selina are being torn away, and she's going to be depending on herself again. You know, really, really sad moments.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well when she approaches Bruce about it, and she says the one thing is that she only came to find me because of you, not just because they were seeing one another, but that obviously that connection that they had made, but it was his money. It was all about his money, and it's something Selina has always kind of been sort of against is the wrong word, but she's always battled to say, Bruce, I don't need your money, I don't need your comfortable house. I'm fine with who I am. I'm independent. She's always battled with the fact that Bruce has been hugely wealthy, and then I think it's that ultimately gets her, is that her mum came because of his wealth. So it was really good, and of course she throws a few kicks and a few punches, and we see Bruce's obviously new training is working well, but he would not fight her.
It's good to kind of see a fight with these two characters again. You know, kind of see a little bit of a bout between the two of them. I'd love to see the two of them sparring against each other in a training environment, but I don't think Selina's disciplined enough for that. But I do like that she's asking Bruce to fight back against me, you know. But Bruce is just dodging the attacks and protecting himself the whole time. It's really, really well choreographed scene.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, really enjoyed it.
But I think with that, on to our Bullockism of the week.
Yes. Our Bullockism competition, as we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, is still going on. We expected that the UK would be catching up in episodes by this stage, but as they're not, we're going to keep it open probably till the end of the season now at this stage. We're in episode 13. We may add some more prizes to the pack, because what we have right now is the Harvey Bullock pop vinyl and a full set of the season 1 of Gotham cards, Gotham trading cards, the base deck, kindly donated to us by Claire Payne. If you want to send in your Bullockism of the week, just email us at feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com and just let us know your favourite Harvey Bullock quote of the week. My favourite one definitely has to be where Bullock is talking to Lucius Fox early on in the episode. Lucius saying he worked at Indian Hill. He used to work on the constructs that kept the people alive. He worked
Yep.
with them. Sorry, not on Indian Hill at Wayne Enterprises, and they were appropriated by Indian Hill. And Harvey's response to him is, "Way to go, Lucius! Good job helping the bad guys." Again, this underlying thing between Harvey Bullock and
There
Lucius Fox.
is,
There's
yeah.
something there that he doesn't like them. I know that one of the things about Harvey is that he doesn't like smart guys. He just doesn't get smart guys. He always hated Ed. Now he's got Lucius in got the sights set on Lucius, I suppose. But hopefully we'll hear a little bit more about those two characters as the season goes on. But yeah, that's one of my favorite moments from the episode. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
John, overall, what do you think of the episode?
I think this is a real standout, a real strong episode. I mean, it's wacky and it's zany. It's everything that a Jerome episode should be. And for that, I'm definitely giving this 4.5 blood spattered Channel 9 hosts out of 5. Yeah, it is. It's just that whole reintroduction of Jerome again, but done in a way that you can believe for the Gotham universe. And Jerome and Cameron, who plays Jerome, just takes it and goes with it. That interaction between him and Leslie Tompkins was priceless, and yet despite that, you still have such the strong relationship between Babs and Tabs, and bringing some great humor into this. But also then you have the extortion of Bruce Wayne by Selina's mom, and just the heartbreak and pain that brings to not only Selina and her mom's relationship, but also that has eked out towards Bruce as well.
Yeah.
So it is really, really, really good, you know. And I mean, coming back to Jerome, he just has some great lines in there that just are priceless for the show.
Without a doubt, Cameron Monaghan is fantastic. I'm kind of happy that he's still working on the TV show Shameless, because he can't get out of that contract. He has to go back over and do his full season of Shameless every year. So they only get him for a very short period of time on Gotham. I can't imagine him being on the show like a character like Ed or Oswald. I think it may run out of steam, but having him back for an arc like this, which is a 3-episode arc, all aired back to back at the start of January of this year in the US, and just 3 episodes back to back of Jerome. So we'll see more of him next week, and then he'll disappear into the background, or whatever will happen to the character at the end of that episode. We haven't seen it yet, obviously, but I'm really loving that they have such a powerful character to come out, shine for a few episodes, and then disappear and go away for a while. So so glad to have Cameron Monaghan back.
Definitely. But I think with that, onto our feedback. Remember that you can contact us through our website voicemail at gothamtvpodcast.com. Just look to the right hand side of the screen and you'll see our little voicemail tab there. You can also send in feedback and comments and discussion by email on any episode of Gotham this season to feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com. And of course, finally, please come over and join our Facebook group. Just go to facebook.com/groups/Gotham TV Podcast. Join the group, join in with the chat and the discussions and our podcast episodes that we will release normally every Wednesday.
That's right. Normally, just not this week.
Just not this week.
But yes, our voicemail comes from Claire Payne about this episode as well. Take it away, Claire.
I was definitely smiling and left speechless after this episode of Gotham. It delivered on a dramatic cinematic scale. John and Derek, you have both commented on how some of the scenes in Gotham have become more cinematic. I agree, and I hope this continues, as the explosion of the power plant causing the blackout in Gotham was so good. Jerome having his face sliced off by Dwight is the biggest yuck factor so far for me in Gotham, and then it got worse when Jerome stapled his face back on. For Dwight to go that far in preventing the Jerome supporters from turning on him while they awaited his anticipated awakening was pure genius. When Jerome does eventually wake up, his catch-up conversation with Leslie is insanely hilarious and actually manages to stay extremely calm while Jerome gets annoyed that Gallivan managed to outstage him twice. I also really like how Leslie used the truth serum on the police officer that was the Mo in the GCPD. We are starting to see a lot of different sides to Leslie. Has Bruce done something that Selina might not be able to forgive him for? I can see why Bruce wanted Maria to have the money so that she would stay around longer and hopefully rebuild a relationship with Selina. From Selina's point of view, I can see how this would make her feel helpless and already failing relationship with her mum. Barbara and Tabitha are certainly taking power into their own hands by taking out leaders of organised crime. Unfortunately for Oswald, he has been severely played by Ed, Tabs and Babs, but it was great to see Gabe back to help Oswald track down supposedly kidnapped Ed. Thanks to Barbara, we know now how to describe Oswald's hairstyle, disco vampire style. Oswald has a hidden knife in his walking cane, and what will Jerome's next move of chaos be? Can't wait to find out. Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much for that, Claire. Some really good points.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Claire.
The disco vampire haircut.
Yeah,
on Penguin.
love
Yes,
it. Disco vampire style.
No, can't do it.
No, you can't. Neither can I. In fact, mine's fluffy, unproducted at the moment. Also known as Salz and Pfeffer.
Yes.
Salz and Einen Pfeffer. Black and white. Yes. Going grey, in other words.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the hidden knife in the walking cane. Yeah, great pick there from Claire. Yeah, it was something we had asked Robin Lord Taylor at the Heroes and Villains Fan Fest in June, where we had said what would be his favourite kind of toy to be concealed within one of his umbrellas or his walking cane. I think it was a helicopter. So maybe,
That's right.
maybe, just maybe, he might have a helicopter.
Well, no, he wanted his umbrella to turn into a helicopter, not for an umbrella to hide a helicopter, because that's quite big.
No, I know.
Okay.
The rotors to come up and then to go away Mary Poppins with her disco vampire style. Like how, so many references here. But it could double up as a fan in hot weather.
It could. I wouldn't get it too close to the face, though.
Yeah.
You might end off like Jerome.
That is true. Face off. John Woo. Cue pigeons. Yes. But
They're
again,
white doves. They're not pigeons.
Ratty pigeons. Not white doves. We have Babs and Tabs taking power into their hands, loving them at the moment. All the time. Yeah. I think they are so good together. I love your yuck factor as well, Claire. Absolutely, slicing and dicing from to get Jerome's face off, and then the old staple gun. Yeah, that just really didn't seem to be too pleasant.
No,
definitely.
No.
And then, of course, the Jerome and Leslie's conversation really is just great. And yeah, the Galavan upstaging Jerome is an absolute matter of deeply principled hurt and hatred for Jerome, and I absolutely love how that floods back into him at the very mention of Galavan, whether it is the fact that he has come back to life previously or whether he has killed someone that Jerome wanted to kill. So really good.
He is the man that killed Jerome, so we can kind of understand that. He took him out in his moment of triumph, effectively, to try and tell the residents of Gotham that he was the mayor for them, so he was just used as a pawn by Galavan, which is never what Jerome wants, so I could totally understand why he's so angry about Galavan. And I wonder, will we see a James Frayne appearance?
Maybe.
Do you think we'll get a third Theo Galavan?
That would be
Gotham-like, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Gotham-like, I think.
That would be interesting. No, because he is blown up.
Well, yes. One of the
Unless
clones
he is Terminator 2, where he can kind of come back, coalesce together.
Look, there may be clones. There is a
that's
Brutal
true.
ganger,
That is
remember,
true.
out there in the
There could
city
be
of
a
Gotham.
Galavan ganger.
There could be, but thanks again so much, Claire, for your feedback. Really good to hear from you.
Absolutely, thank you, Claire.
As John mentioned, if you want to send your feedback, just go on over to the website over at gothamtvpodcast.com. Click the send voicemail button and send us in your thoughts about each episode as you watch them. We'll be coming back next week with episode 14 of Season 3 of Gotham Mad City, which is the gentle art of making enemies. That episode will be out next Wednesday, as usual. Well, back to our Wednesday schedule on the 12th of July. Thanks so much for joining us. Really good to have you with us. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, of course, just go over to gothamtvpodcast.com/iTunes, where you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Or if you want to listen to us on any other good podcast catcher, just go and search Gotham TV Podcast, and you'll see our little logo there with the badge symbol and Gotham TV Podcast written on it. That's how you find us.
Absolutely. I'm off to wreak havoc with a scalpel and a staple gun.
Uh-oh. Little concerned now. Help. We'll see you next week, Gothamites. Talk to you then.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening, and we will speak with you again next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for being a Butch supporter. Butch loves you, baby.